They live like kings. They live in another world while they're demanding that you get patriotic about your sacrifice for the country. Fucking ghouls. It's amazing the lengths to which Republicans will go to justify or support whatever nonsense Donald Trump inflicts upon the United States. So much so that they're calling us communists constantly really rings, it rings hollow just based on the fact that they don't understand what communism is, that everything they don't like is communism. Yet, when Donald Trump gets into office and his tariff policy tanks the U.S. market, now they're saying, kids should only have a few toys. Little girls shouldn't have 20 dolls. They're fine with 2 dolls. You don't need this many pencils. You're fine with this paltry amount of pencils. Do it for patriotism's sake. The same thing that during the austerity times, the paltry times of the Soviet Union when there were bread lines, those people were told the same thing. Do it for your country, because in generations we will be a mighty civilization that no one will be able to counter. It's communism. It's the same thing. And now MAGA is ready to sacrifice for the greater good, even though the same MAGA refused to make any personal sacrifices for the greater good during the pandemic that killed over 1 million Americans. No way am I wearing a mask. My liberty, my personal liberty. You can't tell me what to do, tyrant, right? Yesterday was a perfect example of this. And also, there's another side element of this where these billionaires and wildly wealthy multimillionaires like Scott Bessent are now asking you to sacrifice. These same people that are speaking in these weird communist tones are telling you that you're going to live some austere life while they are wildly wealthy. We're going to talk about all of this. Here's this clip from Scott Bessent yesterday, convincing Americans that enough is enough. We need to live more dialed back lives relative to capitalism because of Donald Trump.
The other thing, too, is this reporter behind me was quite snarky the other day when President Trump talked about the girl having 2 dolls. And he said, well, what? President didn't take the question, but he said, what would you tell that girl? And I said, I would tell that young girl that you will have a better life than your parents, that you and your family, thanks to President Trump, can now be confident again that you will have a better life than your parents, which working class Americans had abandoned that idea. Your family will own a home. You will be able to advance. You will have a good education. You will have economic freedom. That's what we are advancing.
Yeah. This is rich coming from this crowd. Donald Trump, if you'll remember, just months ago was trying to claim that Mar-A-Lago, one of his homes, Donald Trump's homes, was worth $1.8 billion. That's what he claims. This guy wants you to not buy your kids too many toys because of whatever reason, yet he owns a home he claims is worth nearly $2 billion.
And it's an honor to have you at Mar-A-Lago. I hope you like it. It's worth a little more than $18 million. There's another case. It says it's worth $18 million. I said, which cabin are we talking about? But that's the kind of justice we have. When they say that to try and build up a case, that was a shame. But that gave up so much. When they said that gave up so much that Mar-a-Lago's worth $18 million. They had it appraised for, as you know, 50 to 100 times that amount. But we have a judge that's what he said. And he's supposed to be ruling on me.
And it's not just Donald Trump. Scott Bessent, I've talked about him before. The Treasury Secretary, the guy who's talking about the dolls and the pencils, just like Donald Trump. I'm going to talk about a little bit about his real estate holdings. This is from the Wall Street Journal. The caption under the front page here, the John Ravenel house, Scott Bessent's restored mansion in Charleston, South Carolina, is on the market for $22.25 million. Tell me again how many dolls I can buy my children, Scott Bessent. And this isn't his only home. This article talks about, the headline of this article, if you want to find it, is Trump's Treasury pick has bought and sold at least 20 homes. On some, he lost millions. And then this is a map of where his homes are and the number of homes he owns in those areas or has owned. You'll see in Provincetown, in Greenwich, Connecticut, in Southampton, New York City, Bedford Hills, Cashiers, North Carolina, 3 homes in Myrtle Beach, 2 in Charleston, and 3 in Miami. This guy wants to tell you how many toys you should buy your children while he owns dozens of homes worth millions of dollars. I don't believe he got the asking price of $22.25 million for his home in Charleston when it did sell. I think it was more like 18 or 20. But $18 or $20 million for one home, and he wants to tell you what to buy your kids. This is floating around now, these type of things, comparing these goons to Maoists. What's this one say? You will own nothing and be happy. I'm sure that's just AI slop, but it does communicate an idea that these people want you to live a certain way so they can live a certain way. They want to justify wildly irresponsible tax cuts that are going to add like $7 or $8 more trillion to the debt while you live some austere existence and sacrifice giving your children whatever they think you should sacrifice, while they have yachts and private jets and multiple homes and fancy cars. And they are now hijacking the American economy for the sake of wild, irresponsible tax cuts for the wealthy. They want to cut Medicaid and food stamps for poor children. But they live like kings. They live in another world, another complete existence, while they're demanding that you get patriotic about your sacrifice for the country. Fucking ghouls. Disgusting. If there's time to pick a side, if there ever has been, right now is that time. Are you going to be on the side of billionaires who are telling you how to live, telling you how to spend your money on your children while they live extravagant lives in homes that are worth tens of millions and claim that some of their homes are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, thousands of millions of dollars if you listen to Donald Trump, his one home? Gross. Disgusting. This is what is unpatriotic. We need a tax system that makes being a multi-billionaire something that's unattainable because we need to support the rest of us. It doesn't mean we make it illegal to be a billionaire. It's just every dollar after your first 50 million per year, those dollars are taxed at 70%, like it was during Republican administration of Eisenhower. Like it was just when Reagan took office. Even if we could go back to just that tax policy, it would make a lot more sense for the American people. So we don't have to be told what we can and can't buy, why they live like freaks. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. If you want to support this work, become a channel member, you can go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.